Hey, hello and welcome. You're listening to the Evolvepreneur Secrets Show for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Brian Silverthorne, and my mission is to always help entrepreneurs make the differences they want in their business and to help them navigate the messy worlds of startup and growth or relaunch. And today we're going to dig deep with our guest and get you some of the best concepts and strategies to fast track your business. And our special guest today is Christina Kaye. And Christina um, retired from a 27-year corporate career to scale her side hustle of coaching and mentoring authors into a full-time business. So that sounds like an ambitious undertaking. Welcome to the show, Christina.
Hi, thank you.
So why don't you give us a little more elaboration on that? Give us some of your background and let us know what your current focus is.
Sure, don't mind a bit. First off, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to meet like-minded folk and talk about like-minded things. So I'm very, very anxious about this. So in a good way. As you said, it was a 22-year career. Probably was a typo on my part, but still very long time career. I worked in the legal field. I worked in personal injury and was a trial paralegal. Very demanding job. But about halfway through, I started writing books, and I really fell in love with writing books and everything that came with it. But I fell. I made every conceivable mistake that most authors make in the beginning. And I was about to give up, but I decided not to after reading Stephen King's On Writing. And without sounding cheesy or over dramatic, it really did change everything for me. And I changed my focus and I came up with what I now other authors and call the book boss method. But I came up with a way of planning and preparing and developing and getting ready for your career before you start writing that book. And when I did that, that's when I got that very next book, which is now Like Father, Like Daughter. Got my first agent. I actually got 3 agent offers. I got to choose. I got my first publishing deal with traditional publishing, which turned into 5. I had 3 bestsellers and 2 national book awards. And I just really got hyped up and excited about this world. And that slowly merged into this where friends were asking me, hey, can you edit this for me? I'll pay you a few $100. Hey, can you help me with this? Hey, how'd you do that? And so I kind of naturally segued into a side hustle, as you put it, and as I put it author coaching and book editing. I did that for the remainder of my career as a paralegal, and I basically never slept. So working a career job, traveling, going to trials, and then doing this on the side. And in January 2020, well, just before January 2020, I retired. And on January 1st, 2020, I launched Book Boss Academy, and I now coach authors full time. And the majority of my authors are what they call indie authors, self-published authors. It's a big indie authors, and self-publishing has really taken off in the last couple of years with everything going virtual. And so I really found my niche in that regard, and it's done relatively well in the last 3 years. This last year has been pretty much of a struggle, which I'm sure we'll get into with the economy and whatnot. But for the most part, I enjoy every bit of everything I do every day. So I could do this for another 2 years easily. So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell how I got to and now that's what I do is I coach authors. I do some book editing on the side, but that's about it.
Well, that was probably an interesting journey going from paralegal to author coach. So I guess your ideal client is somebody looking to write a book or needs help with a book that they're working on right now. So how do they find you currently?
Most people, you might not believe this, TikTok. TikTok is where it's really actually changed my entire career. For someone who's 44, I'm not in my, no longer in my prime. I'm no spring chicken, as they say. But I actually got in there kind of early on TikTok, kind of carved out a little niche, and 95% of my clients come from TikTok now. But most people find me through either my blog, my website, which everything is Book Boss Academy, at Book Boss Academy, bookbossacademy.com. I make it pretty easy for people to find me. intentionally so.
Well, that's good.
Mhm.
The more consistent it is in a large number of places, the better off you're
True.
going to be. So TikTok, I saw something about there being a TikTok for business. Is that where you concentrate, or just good old
No,
video
I
posts?
concentrate. Not really. There's TikTok. Well, I do have a business account. Let me put it that it's a creator account actually. Business
Okay.
accounts though, I don't have a business account because they don't let you use the trending sounds as a business TikTok account owner. And in my opinion, those trending sounds and videos, that's what makes your account, quote unquote, go viral and get noticed. So no, I don't have a business account. I'm you can find me mostly in book talk and author talk. They're their own little niches within TikTok. So writer talk, anything that says writer, author, book, and then talk on the end, you're gonna find me.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. I did not
It's a
know
great
about.
community. Yeah, it's a great community.
Yeah.
I will say that it's more supportive. I hands down will say it is more supportive and more interactive and engaging than any community I have. And that's not to say anything against my Facebook followers or Instagram followers, but it is. It's very and very supportive.
Excellent. So since you're doing this as a business these days, and like you said, in 2020 and with the COVID deal and all of that, things kind of changed drastically for a lot of us. Um, so do you have any specific client goals or revenue goals over the next 12 months?
I I do, and it's funny that you asked that because we just now started to kind of come up out of this really almost 9 month long slump. Um, 2020 out of the gate, even despite COVID, we hit six figures right out of the first year. Did really really well. First part of 2021, pretty well, but the last quarter of 2021 up through about a month ago was pretty darn it was pretty slow. It was pretty tough. So my revenue goals now that we're back on track, I'd like to get back to where by 2023 I'm back to that six figures and beyond. Hopefully, 2-3 years out, I would like to see us hitting probably $250,000 would be my happy spot. I could retire at that. I'd be happy with that. But
Okay.
I've got some irons in the fire that I think are going to get us there pretty quickly. So
Well, good, good.
yeah.
So do you have any particular roadblocks that you can identify that you're going to need to deal with in order to achieve the goals that you have?
I do. There's several things that without getting it, I could probably talk about roadblocks for hours because I did some kind of soul searching and deep diving and trying to figure out, okay, so yes, the economy is in the toilet right now. Great. But people are still thriving in their businesses. So what is wrong? What is going wrong? And I kind of evaluated and compared my very first successful year to what is different now. And I noticed my team is smaller than it was year one. So I needed to build my team back up. That's one obstacle. And then the other was I had no really clear strategic plan for marketing. And the third is the biggest, which is I had no passive income going. And that's my biggest fall. That was my biggest downfall, I think, that almost lost me the business in this last year. It was by the skin of my teeth that we didn't. But so we're now working on getting those passive. We've got a new affiliate page up and I've got some courses in the works. So not having passive income is probably the biggest obstacle and mistake all rolled into one. Because had I known better, I'd have done it a long time ago.
So you're trying to build the passive income around your business through an affiliate program, anything else?
Yes. Courses, that's our next thing. The first thing is going to be my planner that is just going into production today. Actually, I'm super excited about, and my Etsy shop, and that's doing pretty well. We sell products and resources for authors in my Etsy shop. It's kind of a unique little shop. But really courses, I think is going to be my next aim. Mini courses that are easy to digest, even in this economy, $39, $49, $59 targeted niche down courses like TikTok for authors or, something very specific that even in tough times, most people could and would shell out $39.99 for a 2-hour course or something. So that's my next goal. And we're actually working on that right now. So.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
So have you got a timeline for that?
Well, the biggest goal is that the planner has to be our biggest goal. We're going to launch that over the course of the next 2 months. And so the goal for the courses is going to be by the end of the year.
Okay.
Because the planner we're hoping to have out by Halloween time. We wanted it out for the holidays.
Okay. Yeah. There's always something that gets in the way, even when you
Oh,
plan the best you can plan. So when you're working with your clients, just out of curiosity, what's the best piece of advice that you can give to somebody that's a neophyte author or just getting started?
the best piece of advice I could give to anyone who wants to write a book. I mean, there are two major components to being a successful author, and that is having a well-written book, right? You got to have a good book or else someone's going to read it, or if they do, no one else will. And then the second part is a marketing strategy. So my biggest piece of advice to encompass all of that, and I try to push this as part of my whole, I guess, mission statement, for lack of a better term, is that I try to teach authors to approach their career as an author as they would any other entrepreneurial endeavor. If they wanted to start any small business, you couldn't start a cupcake shop, right, without some small level of investment in time, energy, money. You couldn't. Even if your great uncle Sal passed away and gave you the money to start it, somebody put money in there, right? So that's the biggest thing, is to approach it with intention and purpose, and don't just dive right in and try to write the book, as we all do. We all do it. I did it because we get eager and excited and we can just see that book. But if you can pause even a week, just a week, and spend a couple of days developing your characters, setting, and your plot, and playing out your strategy, you will see 10x what you would have seen without it.
So that's the strategy and the plot for the book, but it sounds like some of the things that you mentioned were strategy and for the business aspect
Mm-hmm.
of being an author as well.
Absolutely. And that's what the planner, the Book Boss Author Planner that's coming out later this year, there's nothing like it on the market. And it's been my passion project for 2 years. But the reason I'm so in love with it is that it doesn't just teach authors and aspiring authors how to write a great book. It does, but it also teaches them how to do all those pre-marketing, pre-launch marketing steps, and build your brand, all the things, exactly like you said, that need to be done even before you, really, as you start writing your book, but definitely before you launch. So many authors write the book and then start thinking about, okay, my book's done, and now in a few weeks I want to publish it. It doesn't work. It never has, and it never will. So you do have to, that's where Book Boss came from. You got to be your own boss. Be your own boss of your new business. So
Well,
yeah,
that sounds a lot like the creative minds of inventors and stuff. They spend a whole lot of time and energy coming up with a product without giving
yep,
any thought to how
to
that
the
product
plan.
is going to go to market and who might want it and how they're going to
I do
create
it.
a message.
All creators do it. A lot of creators, that's naturally how I have to teach myself to do the same thing. Because as creative people, we think in big pictures and big colorful pictures. We don't think linear and logistics. We got to have other people kind of rein us in on that. But it's easier to listen, we all know it's easier to give someone else advice than to follow our own, right? It's one thing. But yes, you do have to approach, just like any other business, you have to approach authorship just like any other small business.
Yeah. So you're a published author in the traditional
Mm-hmm.
sense. You used a publishing house, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but you mentioned that there's more and more coming on as self-published.
Absolutely.
So is there a benefit one against the other for an initial author to get started
Absolutely.
in?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry to interrupt you in there. Yes, there absolutely is a difference, especially here in 2022, or the year that we're listening to it now. We're recording this, and I would say beyond. If someone's listening to this 2 years from now, it's only going to be more true. Traditional publishing had its day. And that's a bold statement. I know it is. I've also been quoted in other resources as saying that give it 20 years and traditional publishing, I'm never going to say they're going to go away. They won't go away. But they're going to have to change significantly. Ever since 2020 and COVID hit, the world went not viral, but virtual, correct? Right? We buy our groceries online. We meet people online. We meet our soulmates online. Of course, it makes sense that self-publishing can be done and it's more accessible to authors. And I'll give you the top reasons why this is so successful and why self-published authors are actually outselling traditionally published authors now. The reasons are, if I'm a new author and I'm going to put my book out, if I went traditionally published, I have about a 5% chance of getting through all those hurdles, finding the agent, getting the agent deal, then getting the agent to pitch the publishers, then getting to see the publishers, then getting all those things, right? So that's a small percentage chance that you even get there. Then if you do, it takes 3 to 4 years on average to see your book on the Barnes & Noble shelf. Number 3, you get to keep, as a self-published author, about 60 to 70% of your gross book sales, as opposed to less than 10% as a traditionally published author. And number 4, I think we're at the biggest thing for me anyway as a creator, is you have to sign the rights to your book over for a minimum of 5 years. So that means your cover, your characters, your title, the content of your book, those are no longer yours. They belong to XYZ Big 5 publisher for at least a term of 5 years. And most creators don't really realize that, or authors don't. And as creators, we're not really big on other people having rights to our work. So I think there's so many factors now, and especially with it being so much more accessible to new authors, there's almost no reason to even fool with traditional publishing anymore, to be quite honest.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
I know bold statements, but
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Get somebody from Simon & Schuster knocking on your door and say, "What?"
I probably will. I'll probably get some nasty letters one day.
Yeah.
If it hadn't happened now, I don't know. We'll see. I've made these statements before, so.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's kind of similar to the good old newspaper business, because newsprint is beginning to go away, and because everything's virtual, you can access
Everything's virtual,
tons
right.
of different things, but most of those are changing to adapt to that.
Correct. And I think that traditional publishing, that's why I don't go so far as to say they'll be gone in 20 years, but they will have to shift focus and shift the way they do things significantly. If they haven't already. I haven't seen much of a shift. I know a lot of them have started to merge and either merge or go out of business lately. So they are being impacted severely by this shift towards self-publishing.
Yeah. Well, I'm still a paperback guy. I just, regardless of whether it's fiction or nonfiction, doesn't really matter. And I always have a paperback with me, because
but you can still do paperback as a.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Glitched.
Yeah, those things
Go ahead. You like paperbacks by now?
Yeah, well, I always have one with me, because I find that the world is filled with a lot of lines, at the post office, the grocery store, and all that other stuff. And I figure, because I like to get out in the world, and instead of standing there and being upset that I have to wait, I can read while I'm waiting. So that's my purpose in having it. Okay, so this.
I'm with you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say we're kind of getting toward the end. Why don't you tell us again how people can get in touch with you, and if you've got a final thought, share that with us too.
Will do. The best way that anybody can reach me, I always recommend go to either TikTok, as that's really popular right now. I have a great link in bio, as they say these days. It has virtually all the things you need to know on one big link, or just quick and easy, go to bookbossacademy.com. You can reach out. It has all the ways to contact me there. Follow me at Book Boss Academy. Like I said, I make it pretty easy. Everything is Book Boss Academy. If you put that in there, you're inevitably going to come across me. So we're trademark pending on Book Boss. So that is pretty much it. And I welcome anyone. I want authors to know that they can reach out. I'm very accessible. I don't, gatekeep. I don't try to, oh, I don't have time for them. No, I answer all questions, all emails, all DMs all the time.
Okay, well, that's very good. So I think we'll end it there, and folks. So that's a wrap with another great guest podcast on the Evolvepreneur Secrets Show for entrepreneurs with Christina Kaye. And if you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star review before you take off, and maybe consider referring it to a friend or two so you can spread the word. And if you want to make sure you have access to all future podcasts, go to evolvepreneursecrets.show and sign up there. And until next time, if you're an entrepreneur, let's make your next best idea start today.